And that's what makes you good. He laughed softly, mirthlessly. He looked at me long and low. Sometimes I still can't believe the things you do. I mean, I really can't. You keep going when other ponies would break. You try and give some pony a second chance, third chance, a fourth chance. Stop, I said firmly, frowning. I'm not perfect. I fucked up. I fucked up big. Remember? I do. But in spite of that, you keep going. You keep on being good. For some reason, his praise was starting to annoy me. You never give up, even when any pony else would. Sometimes wonder what would make you stop. I rose to my hooves, and Boo raised her head in alarm. Damn it! Do you want to know why I keep going? It's because if I actually stopped for 2 seconds to think about things, I'd want to blow my head off. I'm not a good pony. I'm a pony trying to make up for all the fucked up things that I've done. What I did in and 299. What I did to those foals. What I did to you. The fact I'm probably going to need an oil change before I have my period. That I have a crazy ghost pony driving or living in my pit buck who comes and goes as he pleases. I only keep going because I'll die if I don't. Not because I'm good. I sighed and looked away. I'll drag myself forward into a meat grinder because it's less painful than thinking about what I've done. I can give second chances because after my mistake, I'd want a few hundred myself. Maybe. But you haven't quit yet. Not on any pony. He said, quietly, stared away. He took a slow breath. I keep thinking about good pony. You, priest, even glory. And no matter how I try, I don't fit in. I'm not as good as the rest of you. You're fine, I said as I trot over to him, put my leg around his shoulders. It's not about being good. It's about trying to do better. If you quit trying, then you'll just get torn down bit by bit till there's nothing left. I sat and stroked Boo's ears as she lowered her head and started to snooze. He watched me, and then sighed. Make being a good pony look so easy. No. Little Pip, Fluttershy, and Homage make it look easy, I snorted. And don't get me started on the stable dweller. I mean, she can at least save her stable, in which she dwells, I assume, from whence she plotted her eventual salvation of all the ways. You know, I didn't exactly know what the stable dweller did to help Pony. Little Pip faced down mind-reading monsters and slaver armies. Ah, well, she had to do something. Otherwise, why would Homage talk about her like that? Then the door pushed open, and we both rose to our hooves. Lacuna looked at the pair of us, and smiling. You should come. He suddenly staggered against me, and I was barely able to keep us both upright. Scotch? Is she... okay? All right, right? I asked as I held P21. You should come, Lacuna said in our minds, and then pulled back. We started at the swinging door in shocked silence. I'd been so sure. It had been because... No. Don't think that. Don't let him think it. Just... Come on. Let's go, I said as I nudged him towards the door. The oxygen talisman sent up a few slow stream of bubbles from its bottle, the tubes running into a mask covering Scotch's face. Gauze covered her eyes and several patches of her hide, and bandages ran from her throat down to disappear under the sheets. The monitor beeped slowly as it magically read her vitals. Glory adjusted the machine, her lips pressed together and her eyes angry. P21 took one look at her lying there. Honestly, I have no idea, Glory said as P21's hind legs gave out. She glared at him. Some pony hit delicate equipment. Some pony took drugs I prepared for the procedure. Everything was rushed transplanting the lungs. We could have kept her stabilized through the prep. The robot could have swapped the lungs in 3 minutes if everything had been perfect. This was far from perfect. So really, I don't know. She closed her eyes. The eyes went smoothly enough, the skin grafts, but really, I can't tell you if she's going to live or not. Glory? All I could say. She just shook her mane and stepped past us as she headed for the door. It's night now. If she pulls through till morning, it'll be a miracle, said in cold anger as she stepped out. Come on, Blackjack. Need to get you prepped. Make sure he doesn't cough on her monitor or something, she said to Lacuna. The purple Alacor instantly. Anyone didn't look like he was going to cough. He looked like Sanguine sitting there before the 4 copies. No way. Is it that? I muttered in shock as I followed her into the hall. I've never operated that fast or sloppily before. If it wasn't for Lacuna, she'd be dead right now, Rory said sharply. What was he doing with her stasis pod? Why did he take the medics? He's got a problem. I hung my head. I'm sorry, Glory. I'm sorry I gave those Mentols to Scotch. She looked confused for only a few seconds before her glare softened a little. He's addicted, isn't he? I closed my eyes and nodded. She sighed and reached out to pat my shoulder. Not your fault. Isn't it? You tried to say something. Heck, Rampage tried to tell me. I stood and started pacing. It's just, he's always been so strong. I never thought of him. I shook my head. He'd needed it since before we left Stable 99. You mean for his leg? She frowned and we started walking towards the operating room. No. I mean, the medical ponies gave it to the males, either to calm them down or to deal with the after effects of rough sex. I shook my head. I'd never thought of it. The shot to put them to sleep, shot to calm them down when they were hysterical, shots to help them perform. It wasn't just his leg. His whole life he'd been under the influence. So, you have to, do the medicine thing. Make him not addicted anymore. You can do that, right? Theoretically. But the fact is that addiction is more than simply that. Addiction is more than just chemical. It's psychological as well. He might not be able to control himself. I answered at once. Well, I'll control him and... Oh, yeah. That might not work out so well. Are you prepared to give up your hunt for a few months while you do? Medic's addiction is a doozy. When cold turkey could easily kill him without the proper medical help. Wait. Did she actually mean that stopping taking the drug was going to mess him up and could kill him? My mane went all clammy. Well, I'll keep him... The thought of Scotch Tape dying. B-21 dying. Damn it, Glory. There must be something I can do. I know he's got a problem now. I'll watch him close. I won't let him get messed up again. Blackjack, there are some things you can't do. I said in a low voice as we walked. I just dealt with a ghoul who wanted to kill me and got out of a death trap alive. There's nothing I can't do, I insisted stubbornly. Hadn't he followed me into the death trap for the whole death thing, though? We'll just have to keep an eye on him. I looked at her hanging her head and nudged her. How about you? How are you doing? She sighed. I'm trying to compartmentalize what happened. She was critically ill. I had to cut as quickly as possible. She might have been brain dead before we even got out of her pod. Death happens. She glanced at me in my startled expression. One of the first things they teach you in medical school. Death happens. You can't save them all. She sighed. I just hope I didn't make a mistake. Rainbow Dash was no surgeon. Sanguine said surgery was simple. I said with a frown. He lied to me. I should have dragged him along. Wait, no. There was a fusion spell he hadn't had time for, and his panicking, half-crazy family had freaked out. I'm sure that, for a 2-century-old doctor, it is. For someone who's only read about the procedure and witnessed a few transplants, it's more than a little tricky. Especially, it's active the stabilization field, get the patient unconscious, crack them open, remove the bad organ, put the transplant in, sew and anchor it in place, and flood everything with a healing potion, close it up and hope for the best. Closed her eyes. What are our odds? I asked with a gulp. Boo bumped my flank with her head, making me jump. My jump made her jump as well, and she ducked behind the counter, looking at me. I can't believe there were dozens of ponies like her in that place, Gloria said softly, shaking her head. Anyway, I don't do odds, Blackjack. You're the one who knows gambling. We'll know by morning if she's going to pull through or not. There's no chance of organ rejection, but infection, having something rupture, internal bleeding. She hissed softly in frustration. If he'd just not touched the pod or taken those chems. If I could have had more time. You did the best with what you had, I said, then bumped my head against her. Aha! Now I knew where Boo had picked it up at. She gave a warm smile. I know. Just, at this point, I feel helpless. We all do, I murmured softly. We walked along together, with our heads held a little bit lower. Glory got over it first. Well, before morning arises, and my confidence is shattered forever, let's see if I can't get you free of that hazmat suit, she said brightly. 15 minutes later, I was discovering just what Glory could do with a scalpel. I doubted I would ever feel the same way about her, as she held the razor-sharp blade in her lips and sliced away the yellow rubber and the barding beneath. No sooner was the yellow rubber cut than a reeking pong of pony sweat, blood, and leather struck my nostrils. Glory backed away, coughing and gagging as the blue Pegasus turned decidedly green. Okay, that couldn't be healthy. You're lucky. With that healing talisman inside you, you'll regenerate all of this relatively quickly, she said matter-of-factly. As she freed my tail from its rubbery sack, I swished it a few times, letting it air out. Oh, I could really go for a good brushing. He included a few ounces of muscle tissue and fat, so I could build you up. And that's good, but... Glory, I look like a robot. How much... Was there any pony left in me? You're not a robot, Glory said as she tossed the sack away. Yes, we had to replace a lot of compromised bone and reinforced your epidermis. The alternative was something like Deus, with an external support poking out of your hide. That still didn't make me feel much better. She sighed and stroked my mane. Look at it this way. Would you feel better if you saw only bones sticking out of those injuries? No, I said with a shiver. Then you shouldn't feel bad about being the metal. Gloria replied. You're injured, not damaged, and we're going to get you healed, not repair you, she said firmly. Then she took up the scalpel and finished cutting away as many scraps as she could. The only pieces that remained were rings, were bullet holes, and had allowed the barding and hazardous material suits to bond with my hide. It didn't hurt, but it didn't feel natural either. Natural. That was a term that could legally apply to me anymore. Okay, now the fun time. I'm out of Med-X, so we're going to have to use a memory orb. Hopefully it won't tear off until I'm finished. You have a preference? Gloria asked with a small smile. Given how jumbled up they were, I really just needed a case or something to label them. I sighed. Really, most of my memory orbs weren't all that pleasant to begin with. I really didn't want to relive Stonewing getting a cockatrice squished into him. Besides, now that I was out of the suit, I had something else to take care of. Give me a second, okay? I said with a flush. Why? Something the matter? How do I put this delicately? I need to use the little filly's room.